If you're a Shopify store owner and you're struggling to understand how to grow your store on Google, then in today's video, I'm going to show you everything that I've learned over the last 6 or 7 years working on Shopify stores so that anyone can take this video and start to grow their Shopify store completely for free. Let's get into it. Now, my name's Hamish, also known as Income Stream Surfers Online, and I've decided to make this new channel to help people learn about Shopify and Shopify SEO. Now, Shopify SEO seems like a very complicated topic, but I'm going to break it down into 4 or 5 very simple and easy to follow steps. Now, the first thing to know is that I do actually have a software that will do all of this for you, and it costs $499 a month, which is much better than an agency, and it will also do much more than a typical traditional SEO agency will do for you. Now, the reason for that is because the last 7 years, I've spent a lot of time growing stores. I have some stores that are doing millions, not my stores, but I've worked on stores that are now doing millions. I've created stores from scratch for people. I've done a lot of Shopify stuff, and I really think that Shopify is very, very good for SEO. So I wanted to break all of that down for you guys. If you want a reliable agentic AI way to do this for you, SEO Grove AI is my tool, and I promise you, for $499 a month, it will do more than any agency on the market. Now, let's talk about Shopify SEO. Now, I'm going to be looking over there just so you know, because I have a board with everything on there, and I'm just going to go through these topics. Now, SEO is free traffic if you do it yourselves. Now, you can only really realistically do it yourselves if you have some, not knowledge necessarily, but some drive to basically learn how to do things like Python, connecting to the Shopify API, and automating some of this stuff with AI. Doing it yourselves is soul destroying, time consuming. I've done it a million times, guys. I would not recommend it, okay? However, you don't have to pay, for my software, you don't have to pay an agency. You can do a lot of these things using something like Claude Code. I'm not going to be going into that in this video, but you can check out one of the later videos in this playlist for some more information on that. Now, let's just talk about some of the biggest problems that people have with Shopify SEO. I would say the number one problem by far is no content. Let's imagine you're Google for a second. Who would you rank better on Google? The person that comes along, uploads 100 products, and then says, "Where are my sales?" Or the person that comes along, uploads 100 products, creates product categories around those products, writes blogs around those products, and then creates pages around those products as well, puts all of that information into a big menu so that your spiders can find it, your crawling spiders, and then, the answer is obvious. You're obviously going to rank the second one better. Now, I mentioned a few terms there. Let's go through some key terms really quickly. So the first key term is indexing. Indexing is effectively your page on your website being on the index of Google. Index in this sense is like an encyclopedia has an index at the beginning of it, so you can find a word quickly, right? That's the same meaning here. It's in the index of Google, right? Keywords, very, very important to SEO, but what a keyword actually is the thing that someone types into Google to find your website, right? Then we have clicks, which is when someone clicks on your website from Google. We have impressions, which in my opinion is as important, if not more important than clicks, because you can't get a click without an impression. Impressions are when someone searches for a term and your website appears on Google for that term, but they don't necessarily click it, right? They just would see it if they went far enough down, right? So if you're in the top 10, you get an impression if you're number 9 or number 8 or number 1. Everyone gets an impression, but only number 1, 2, or 3 normally get the clicks. And then there's CTR, which is click-through rate, which is quite an arbitrary statistic when you look at the entire website, but basically it's clicks divided by impressions, right? Or impressions divided by clicks, whatever. However many people click from your impressions compared to your clicks, right? That's your click-through rate. Now, people obsess over click-through rate, but looking at click-through rate over the entirety of a website doesn't actually make sense, okay? The only time click-through rate makes sense is if you're looking on a specific day for a specific keyword or a specific term or whatever it might be, maybe a page. Doesn't really make sense to look at multiple keywords at once, right? Now, how do you find out all of the information that I just told you? How do you know how many clicks you get? How do you know how many impressions you've got? How do you know your click-through rate? How do you know your keywords, most importantly? That's where Google Search Console comes in. Now, Google Search Console is effectively the back end of your website on Google. It's the organic back end. There's nothing to do with ads, nothing to do with anything, okay? All you have to do, by the way, for Search Console is put a tiny little snippet, and we'll have a video on this, put a tiny little snippet of code on your Shopify website through the code editor, and you have access to Google Search Console immediately. And it will tell you how many people are searching, how many people are clicking, and for what keywords. But they're the basic key terms that you need to understand for SEO. There's actually nothing more than that. Okay, so for the next part of the video, I'm just going to go over to my notepad that I have handy here, and I'm going to talk about a few key points. Now, the first key point are the types of pages that we have, okay? Pages. Now, the only one that no one can really help you with is products, right? / products. Now, Shopify has a very uniform system. Everything looks exactly like this. Every single website. You can tell a Shopify website by looking at their URLs. So all of your products will have / products inside the URL. You have to add these yourselves, right? You can use CSV, you can import them, whatever, but you need products, right? And then from that, you need good titles and good descriptions for your products. You don't want to have duplicates. So for example, if you're a drop shipping store and you import from a supplier, you need to make sure that these are not duplicated. So actually a really good business model is to take a drop shipping supplier, take all of their products, stick them on a Shopify store, and automatically with AI and Python change all of their titles and descriptions. Now, this is quite simple to do manually, but like I said before, if you do all of this manually, it's quite soul destroying. You have to be very, very, very motivated in your own business and believe in yourself to be able to have the kind of energy that is required to do this manually. Trust me, I've done it manually and I know how much it takes, okay? Now, products are actually the least important part of your SEO, which might sound weird for an e-commerce store, but I actually don't. In my opinion, products don't rank that well on Google. Now, what does rank well? Collections. Now, this is the beauty of SEO Grove, my SaaS, my software, and also just the beauty of Shopify as well, if you know what you're doing. What you need to do is for every product category that may exist on your website, you need to make a collection. And the way that you do that, by the way, there's a few ways to do this. You can either add a tag to a product, right? So let's say you sell plants and you have an indoor plant, right? So you add the tag indoor plant to your product. And then in the collection filter, you say so tag equals indoor plant, right? That's a very, very simple way to do it, okay? But the only problem with that is that you then have to tag all of your indoor plant products individually, and then you have to tag them for every other filter or product category that you want them to be on. So that is very time consuming. Another way to do it is, let's say you sell classic menswear, right? And you have a product that has the word shirt in it. All of your shirts have the word shirt in it. You can do title contains, this is another filter. If you go to products collections on Shopify and then add a collection, so title contains shirt, right? And then you do the title for the collection, you do a description for the collection, and then that is how you start to actually rank on Google. One of the biggest pitfalls I see on Shopify stores is that people add a lot of products, but they don't add the collections. How can you possibly expect to rank for shirts on Google when you've got 1,000 shirts and all of your competitors have shirts? Now, the way that I do it is I make sure that all of my products are very descriptive, right? So for example, all of my blue shirts will have blue shirt in the title, right? Makes a lot of sense. And then what I do is I create a product collection. Title contains blue and plus title contains shirt, right? And that's when you start to really build something that is very, very interesting to people. Okay, so let's say that we've created all our collections, we've got all of our products. What do we do next? Now, what I personally like to do is I like to create some pages. Now, what do I mean by pages? I mean, of course, slash pages, because again, Shopify is extremely uniform. Now, let's say that you sell, again, blue shirts, right? And you sell a particular brand, let's say, just from my experience, I'm just going to use one from my experience, Kiton, right? What you can do is you could build a page built around, for example, Kiton itself, or you could do something like shirt sizing, graphs. Another example that I've got is a glossary, right? So you just create a huge glossary of all these terms. Basically what this does is it increases your topical authority because you're showing to Google that you are an expert on the topic of your website. So all of this together, what this starts to do is it starts to really, really increase your topical authority. And topical authority, all that means is showing that you're an expert on the topic to Google by having good informative content about a topic. Google will trust your website more than someone who has only got products and a few collections, right? This is the biggest mistake I see of Shopify store owners. They have 100 products, 5 collections, an About Us page, and they say, where are the sales? Where's the organic traffic? It's not enough, okay? Now, once you've done that, I'm going to talk a little bit about blogs, right? Now, most people think the point of blogs is to rank a blog. If you talk to any business owner, serious business owner, they don't give a single toss about ranking the actual blog, okay? What it actually does is it again increases topical authority. And what you can actually do inside your blogs is you can have links from your collections and from your page, or to your collections and to your pages, sorry, from the blogs and also to your products. You can embed your products as well. You can use AI for that. Again, SEO Grove does that automatically, but if you're interested in doing it yourselves with AI, you basically just need a way to get your product into a prompt and then get it to write a blog. And it's actually fairly easy to do it yourselves as well. And what this does is it increases your topic authority, but it also increases the chance of indexing. Now, if you remember before, we mentioned indexing. It's so important that you get your pages indexed, and you can't really do it manually. You have to rely on Google's systems, and you are increasing the chance of indexing every time you have a blog that is indexed and you link to one of your collections, okay? So for example, let's say we write an article about menswear in 2025, for example, bad topic, but it's just a quick example. And we have a link in that blog post to our blue shirt collection. That blue shirt collection then has a much higher chance of getting ranked on Google, if that makes sense. Now, let's just talk about one more thing just quickly, and then I'll give you an overview of everything, and that is mega menu. What I like to do after I've done all of the steps that you've seen above, I've created all my pages, you then create a huge mega menu and you put all of your collections, right? All of your pages that make sense, and then some blogs if they make sense as well. And what this does is, because your header, your menu is on every single page on your website, you are effectively saying that anything in your mega menu is an important page, and Google is much more likely to index it if you do that. Now, let's talk about a few more things very, very quickly that I'm just going to go through. So, my kind of step by step, this is a summary of everything. Number one, upload products, right? Number 2, create all collections. Collections. Sure. Number 3, which we haven't talked about, is translate everything. Now, Shopify makes translation extremely simple, but they can only give you 2 languages at a time, whereas automatically translated. Whereas if you use Grove, for example, we can translate 30 languages, 50 languages. It doesn't matter. There's no limit. Okay. But obviously, you need basically to just activate a language in your store, and then that then creates what is known as a href lang tag or href language tag. You will have seen these before. They're basically just, for example, /de in a URL, and what that means is that that URL is German, right? So that's all it is. That's how Shopify handles translations, and it works very, very well. We are ranking extremely well in certain countries for very good keywords just by having an automatic translation there. Number 4, create blogs with internal links. Obviously, I won't write that, but with internal links. Number 5, mega menu. Mega menu. Number 6, this is where it starts to get interesting. Post to external sites. Post to sites. What does that mean? That means medium.com, Quora, Reddit, I don't know, anything, anywhere you can put your website, put a link, anything, that will increase what is known as your authority. Not your topical authority, but your authority. And there's a free way to do it. You know, put it on all of these different indexes and directories and everything. And basically what that does is it says to Google, oh, this website has links from other websites. They're called backlinks. You've probably heard of backlinks if you're on this video. And we will talk about backlinks in more detail another time. But just so you know, just by posting on third-party websites, if you posted to 100 third-party websites, that will increase your traffic basically within a month, right? So make sure that you're doing that as well. And I'm talking also make Facebooks, Pinterest, everything. All of that stuff contributes because it shows Google that you are trusted, because an untrustworthy website will not have a Facebook, for example, in their eyes. That's how they look at it. And then finally, here, search engines. Other search engines. There's not just Google. Google will do this automatically, but you need to add yourselves to Bing, Yandex if you're in Russian. You know, if you're selling in Korea, you need to be on Naver. There are loads of different search engines all across the world. There's not just Google. So add yourselves to other search engines as well. That's pretty much everything I've got for you guys. I promise you, if you follow the methodology that I just went through, within 3 to 6 months, you'll see significantly more traffic than if you hired an agency. But you have to do it yourselves, okay? If you don't want to do it yourselves, SEO Grove AI, first link in the description. It will help you, I promise you. It's not just another YouTuber tool or whatever. I've worked really hard on it. I really, really believe in it, and I promise you it does get results as well. I'll be talking more about Grove in other videos, many more videos like this to come. There's a playlist that will be made as well in the description of this video. Watch the entire playlist. If you want to grow your store without paying an agency, this is the place to be. I'll leave the video there, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you're watching all the way to the end of the video, you're an absolute legend, and I'll see you very, very soon with some more content. Check out the video at the end as well. Peace out.